Instead of reviewing any new TikToks, let's see some of the worst TikToks that we have ever reviewed. If I were you, I'd grab some popcorn because this is going to be a long video. It's not going to be one of these again, is it? This isn't going to be what I think they're going to be making. Like an omelet or something. So let me get this straight. They're adding more seasoning to this bag of chips, or Lay's potato chips. That's India's magic masala seasoning. Seriously? I think there's already like a lot of seasoning in this bag. The eggs are overcooked. And to be honest, if you actually want to make an omelet, it's much faster to make an omelet in the normal way than sticking it in one of these bags and then boiling it. Now, you can actually cook eggs like this in a bag. It's possible, and I believe even Food Services of America, this was years ago, they were selling a product, I don't know if they still are, where you actually have eggs that are in a bag that you put in boiling water, and it's quick scrambled eggs for the buffet line. It's a disgusting product, but it's quick. And they actually take longer than actually making scrambled eggs the normal way.
Let's put our pizza dough onto the waffle maker. Add some tomato sauce, some fresh mozzarella.
What's she making? This is gonna be like what? A waffle pizza? Hey, any Italians watching right now? It may be a good time to look away for a few seconds.
Now let's add on our toppings. And the last pepperoni's here. Add on a green pepper ring. For the meat in this corner, we are going to use some shredded ham. And it wouldn't be a Hawaiian pizza without some pineapple tidbits.
The green peppers, if you don't cut them thin enough, they're not going to cook fully. So, you know, I don't know. I've never cooked a pizza in a waffle machine before. It's never occurred to me. I've never even seen it. Never.
Now let's close this up. We're gonna wrap our pizza dough right on top. Now we're gonna close this up and let it cook for 10 minutes until you have a perfect waffle pizza.
Perfect waffle pizza. Well, she's actually making a calzone, but she's making it in a waffle machine instead of actually just making a calzone. If it works, but it's still a little strange.
Put that aside, and we're gonna grab our burner. Homemade sauce is always 10 times better. Let's grab our pan, drizzle on some olive oil. We're gonna take our garlic contraption, just put in 2 little cloves, close that up. You guys already know this is our favorite way to chop up garlic. Doesn't get your hands dirty at all. All right, that's it. Super easy, and you have chopped garlic right into the pan.
What a strange little gimmick to chop up garlic. I mean, why is it so hard just to take a cutting board, crush it with a knife, and to chop it up? It's faster, because at the end, you still have to clean this little thing. Maybe they do work, but for me, I would never buy one.
We're gonna add in a little bit of Italian seasoning, salt and pepper, 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour.
For anybody that doesn't know what exactly like Italian seasoning is, it's a blend of herbs. Basil, rosemary, oregano, thyme, maybe margarine, depending on where you buy it. And it may have a few other herbs in it, like sage or a few others.
This smells just like the Pizza Hut dip. I'm addicted to that stuff. When it's nice and golden brown, you can add in about 1/3 of a cup of half and half.
Yum, garlic dip.
We're going to add the final ingredient, which is just a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Let's get it into a bowl.
She added a roux to make the sauce, which is good, but it's a little too thick. She should have added a little more cream to it because this consistency is not right.
All right, it's been about 10 minutes. Oh my goodness.
Wow, that's looking good.
The perfect size personal pizzas. How cheesy is that?
So cheesy.
If we didn't see this from the beginning, I would actually think that this is a waffle because it looks like a waffle. But a pizza waffle is so bizarre.
Get a nice big chunk in there. Cheers. For some reason, everything in a waffle shape tastes better.
You can't put everything in a waffle shape. I mean, imagine someone trying to put like a paella in a waffle shape.
Paella de mariscos in the waffle maker. Just a little leftover paella from dinner the other night. Gonna pop some shrimpies right on the top.
Eggs to die for.
Gordon's
First off,
making eggs.
touch of oil,
Butter
butter
and
into the
oil in a
pan.
pan.
Get your eggs, crack on a flat
Okay.
surface, open them up, and
Right.
into the pan. Again,
Okay.
into the pan. A nice seasoned
Okay.
pepper,
See, salt and
touch of
pepper,
salt,
right.
a little touch
Oh.
of chili
Okay.
flakes. Once you got that butter foaming,
Gordon's making more breakfast than he set up eggs right now.
but look, just clockwise, just roll the pan round, and that foaming butter cooks the egg white beautifully. And when you roll them round like that, it sort of almost floods the center of that egg with that foaming butter.
It's either this or you have to actually baste the eggs with the hot oil, so this is a little trick. It also helps prevent it from sticking to the pan.
So it's quite an art in frying an egg perfectly. I love the ends nice and crispy. I like all the white beautifully cooked. Back on. Touch of sriracha onto my
sriracha.
egg. And then Worcestershire sauce. And then from there, just turn the gas off. And the remaining heat in this pan will continue cooking those eggs.
Those eggs look delicious, but that's not how you make a Spanish fried egg. Spanish fried eggs are literally fried in oil, so a lot more oil than that, and they are crispy as you know what, and super runny in the middle.
Called arrayas, it's basically a meat stuffed pita and it takes less than 30 minutes to make.
I'll tell you guys at the end if it actually took me less than 30 minutes.
I thought for a minute there she said arepas. What she's making is arrayas. As she said, they're going to be made in like pita bread. They're very tasty and delicious. They're super easy to make. They are. Basically, it's kind of like an empanada or like an open empanada. Arepas are also very tasty and delicious. Actually, there are a lot of tasty and delicious things. They really are.
Start by cutting our pita halfway down the middle.
Start by cutting my pita right down the middle.
Ground beef and add garlic, feta, parsley, and a bunch of spices. I also like to add some dried mint and harissa.
To ground beef, we're gonna add garlic, my never-ending raclette, parsley, smoked paprika, and this Mexican harissa.
As always, FutureCanoe adds the wrong ingredients. That's not harissa, that's actually Mexican salsa, which is actually a very popular salsa, by the way. Harissa is actually a blend of spices, and like with rasa hanout and everything else, I'm sure that the recipes vary from country to country, but basically it's peppers, garlic, coriander, caraway seeds. Again, though, with other spice blends, they vary greatly when you go from country to country or town to town, depending on where you buy it.
And open up our pita halves and start stuffing them.
We'll open up our pita and start stuffing it.
I like to add a lot of meat, that way they're a bit more filling.
I like to add a lot of meat out of habit.
Sear them on both sides until golden and crispy.
You want to be careful not filling these too thick, because if you do, they're not going to cook as quickly. I mean, it's like anything, no? If you make a burger like this thick, it's going to take a lot longer than a burger that's this thick, isn't it? So if you want it medium or you want it a little underdone, that's fine. But when you're dealing with ground beef or ground meat for that matter, it's very important to be extra careful, because you can get food poisoning easily with ground meat. The bacteria is not just on the surface of the meat. When you grind it up, it gets mixed in with the rest of the meat. So while you can have a steak medium and not get sick, with ground meat, the probability is a lot higher.
Sear both sides in the pan until golden and crispy.
And I promise the meat fully cooks.
Something tells me the meat is not cooked, so I'm gonna throw it into the air fryer for 8 minutes. This one's a little too thick.
This is what I mean by make them thinner. That way it fully cooks. 8 minutes in an air fryer on top of it. Huh?
The thinner one is much better, so let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10. My first time having arrayas is like a more tidy flatbread burger. Took me almost an hour for some reason, but I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Alright, thank you.
You know, looking at this recipe though, it actually does look like a good recipe, so I think it would be tasty. But like with everything, when you try a recipe, before you fully cook everything off, I would suggest to take a portion of this recipe and cook it off. So just take a little portion of the meat, make a little burger patty, a little teeny one, cook it off, and then taste it. And if it needs more seasoning, more spice, more salt, more pepper, whatever it may be, but that way you know, instead of eating it raw, getting sick, or making it and then cooking everything off, and then, you know, it's like missing something. It really does make a difference. Trust me, especially if you want to impress anyone.
I recently learned a trick online and I want to test it out to separate the egg yolk from the egg whites. I already tried once and was successful, but then the second time I broke it.
Oh, it's not going to be one of these little gimmicks, is it? I mean, why do you need something to not touch the egg yolk? You can just use your fingers, it's faster.
But we're going to try. So I squeeze a plastic disposable water bottle while gently setting it over top of the egg yolk. Slowly release to suck the egg yolk up into the bottle. Let the egg whites separate, and there I have egg yolk and egg whites.
I think this is a waste of time, but I mean, if you don't want to be using the shells to separate the egg yolks and whites, or if you don't want to be actually just using your fingers, which is a lot faster, you know, if it works for you, it works for you. But for me, this is a gimmick.
Make perfect salmon every time in your dishwasher. Start with your salmon fillet.
She's gonna be cooking salmon in the dishwasher. Like, seriously, who cooks in the dishwasher? It's not meant to cook food, it's meant to wash your plates.
Add some lemon as desired. Then I used some fresh herbs like dill and rosemary. Next, I came in with a little garlic and some butter and salt and pepper to taste.
Okay, this is good. She's adding some herbs and spices to the fish to season the salmon.
Now be sure to wrap your salmon up so it's airtight. You don't want any holes or seams open in this.
If you don't want any water to get in, it's actually better to wrap the aluminum in film, yeah, in saran wrap. Wrap it a couple times because that way it'll protect it from getting too wet.
Put it in the top rack of your dishwasher and put it in for a full cycle on hot water and heat it dry. You want it to get to 145 degrees. When it's done, pull it out, open it up, and enjoy.
What a waste of water, honestly, to use your dishwasher for this. It also looked like she cooked the asparagus in this. If we go back and you see this other little piece of aluminium, but why use the dishwasher? You can do the same thing with the oven. As a matter of fact, you won't use as much water. You can get a bain-marie, get a container, fill it with hot water, put it in the bottom of the oven, stick the fish on top of that, yeah, on another rack, and that will actually help steam the oven. This is if your oven doesn't have a steam function. Just use this. You don't need to cook it in the dishwasher.
You have a beautiful, perfectly cooked salmon. So good. You gotta try this.
Let's see how Jamie do on ramen.
I've chosen to go with pork belly.
Ooh, pork belly. Pork belly, good.
So let's just get that pork out. Look at that. Just falling off the bone.
Hiya, no. Season it. Put some soy sauce. Braise it with some kind of sauce. What the hell is this pasty-ass char siu?
There are good tutorial videos on YouTube to see how to make the char siu properly. It's not difficult to make.
Let's go in.
Wait, what?
Let's go in.
That's not even ramen. That's soba noodle.
Common sense tells you that's going to taste absolutely gorgeous.
Common sense tells you that's gonna taste gorgeous.
Just when Uncle Roger thought this video was over.
Let's just say this wouldn't be something that I would cook for a ramen competition.
¿Sabías que si le agregas una botella de Coca-Cola a las alitas de pollo?
Why is the chicken in a glass jar? But anyways, the master of all languages, FutureCanoe, is back at it again. We're gonna pour some Coca-Cola into some pollo.
FutureCanoe is going to be following a Latino recipe. Now keep in mind, if you are learning Spanish, yeah, pollo is chicken. You do not use the word polla. There are also a few other words that in Mexico it means something, and here in Spain it actually means something basic, like coger, which means to grab something. In Mexico, it means another thing, which I'm not going to say that on YouTube. I want to keep this somewhat PG, but in any case, in Spain, it's used all the time. It's not a bad word.
2 cucharadas de salsa de tomate.
Salsa tomate is definitely ketchup.
Salsa de tomate. FutureCanoe's right with this.
1 cucharada de mostaza.
Mostaza is mustard.
2 cucharadas de salsa de soya.
Salsa sodium is soy sauce. Makes a lot of sense.
Is salsa de soja. Salsa de soja. Soy sauce. If you want, you can substitute with a little chili jam. Same thing.
Woo! Yeah!
1 cucharada de miel.
Miel is probably maple syrup.
Y luego cocinas las alitas.
Miel is not maple syrup. Miel is actually honey. If you use a good honey, it'll add flavor. If you use a cheap quality honey, it won't.
In a pan, we're gonna spray some oil and start searing the chicken.
Le agregamos unos 2 dientes de ajo.
Alitas or chicken wings. FutureCanoe is staying true to fashion, always using something else other than the actual thing to make the recipe.
La Coca-Cola que quedó.
We'll give both sides some color and throw in some garlic and a little bit more Coke.
Y también la salsa que preparamos.
We'll pour in the sauce and mix that into the chicken.
Y tapamos por unos 15 minutos.
We'll let it simmer for 7 minutes so the sauce is thickened.
Y logramos unas alitas que están para chuparse los dedos.
Now we can put it on a plate and ready to be enjoyed. Let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10.
To chupar los dedos is actually to suck your fingers. It depends on where you want to say that. In this context, it's okay, but again, it's not something that you want to say in the average day. Chupar los dedos. In English, obviously, as many of you know, we don't say that. We say like finger licking good or something like that. It doesn't sound as bad to suck your fingers. Sucking your fingers is not, you know.
Sorry, children.
I think we just made barbecue chicken in a really complicated way. I guess barbecue sauce is just ketchup and Coca-Cola. Overall, it's pretty weird. I'll give it a 7.8.
The funny thing is that if he added a little bit of like liquid smoke, this would have been a very basic barbecue sauce recipe. Long story short, it probably didn't taste bad, but I don't use Coca-Cola in my recipes. I know that Coca-Cola is used in different recipes, either in Filipino cuisine, making like adobo, or even in some Mexican recipes. But really with Coca-Cola and everything, it's just, I don't drink Coca-Cola. It's not my thing. What I would recommend, instead of just like searing the chicken wings, is to actually fry them. Pane them, fry them twice, so you get a nice crispy texture. And if you want even a crispier texture, leave them uncovered in the fridge the night before. That way the skin will dry out. Make sure it has no hairs on it and pat it dry. And you'll end up with super delicious chicken wings. I have a recipe for chicken wings if you want to see that video. Ooh.
I'm at my old restaurant, and this is how you make spring rolls. Exactly like takeout.
Those spring rolls are perfect.
Now let's cook. My giant wok.
That was a big
Oil
wok.
all around the wok. We're gonna add onion. Dehydrated garlic.
Dehydrated garlic doesn't burn as quickly. Restaurants use this a lot.
Now we add the cabbage in. Give it a toss. Add a little bit of carrot, just to give it some color. And woody mushrooms. You know how sometimes
all
we
that
make
cabbage will
spring rolls
come
at home
down, so
and they burst?
don't worry.
I'm going to show you how to fix that. All the water starts
Wow.
boiling up in the middle. What you're going to do is drain it. Scoop it out. Throw it back in.
This is a good little tip, because if you're going to be sauteing, normally you'd put in portions, little portions at a time instead of everything at once. Because if you put everything at once, it's going to start boiling.
Season it with chicken powder, sugar, 5-spice powder, little bit of yum yum, and salt. Now we add cooking wine and sesame oil. Now if it's still a little bit wet, we're going to add potato starch. No more water.
The starch will help keep everything together.
Now we scoop it up onto a tray.
If you want to make this drier, you could use a perforated tray afterwards to help drain off any residual water.
This is the spring roll wrapper I'm using. It's not my preferred one, but it's the one that you guys can find at home. It's really important, okay? Even opening the packaging is really important. Like this, okay? Pull the skin out. I'm gonna cut the spring roll skin in half, straight down the middle. Half the spring roll skin. Oh, this is very doughy. I hated peeling these as a kid. It's actually traumatizing. Once it's
They
all
can be a
peeled,
pain in the
back
you know
into
what.
the
Sometimes
package.
they stick together
Fold
as
it
well.
like this, so it doesn't dry out. Place the filling on top. Fold the sides in, a little bit of starch on the top, and that's how you make a spring roll. Now the spring roll's all made, we're gonna fry them. Fry them for about 3 minutes because the filling's already cooked.
Those were beautiful spring rolls. I'm gonna have to try this recipe. It looks delicious.
All of our pasta inside a blender. Just break it up a little bit. Make sure it all fits in there.
What is she doing with the pasta in the blender? And it says on here, I learned this pasta trick in Italy. It's kind of hard to believe. Yeah? I mean, seriously. I wouldn't see Italians like doing this.
You just put the spaghetti right in the blender.
Yes. You just put spaghetti, you put any kind of pasta right into your blender. We're going to turn it on.
Did anyone see that? She was actually taking the fork and pushing the pasta into the machine with the fork while it's blending. That is like one of the most dangerous things that you can do. You can mess up the blade of your blender. You can hurt yourself as well. This can come back at you. If you are going to be playing around with the blender, I don't recommend sticking like utensils in it while it's blending.
Okay, I think we are ground up enough. It looks like that.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah, dump this out on our table. We're making fresh pasta out of pasta.
How does that make sense? Why not just use semolina? You can use semolina to make the pasta and actually make fresh pasta. You don't have to grind, take a pack of pasta that you're not using, dried pasta, blend it up in your blender, and then make pasta out of it. It's not going to be the right consistency. This is not a good trick, yeah?
Boop, just like that. I'm gonna mix it up. I'm just gonna start incorporating it all together. So I'm gonna go in with my hands. I'm just gonna start pressing it all together. So if your dough's a little bit too dry, you just need to add another egg on in there.
If you look at the consistency of this mix, you can see the granule size of the ground up pasta. The texture of it is not right. It's more like a texture of like ground corn or polenta. It's not right.
And what's so cool is that you can make any shape of pasta you want. So we are making today fettuccine and cut it in strips, just like this.
Ooh.
And you can do it however thick you want or thin that you want. There's no rules with making pasta this way.
It's a good thing Italians aren't reviewing this video right now because I can only imagine what their reaction would be.
Okay, now I have my boiled water. I'm just gonna throw some salt in there. We're gonna gently place our pasta noodles right into our boiled water.
Wow.
Just like that. We're gonna put all of them in there. I did also have some oil inside my water, which will prevent the noodles from sticking together.
I don't think you need to worry about the noodles actually sticking to each other. What you need to worry about is them actually falling apart. That's what you need to worry about.
While that's doing that, let's make the sauce. So while our pasta is cooking, I'm just going to put a jar of sauce right over here. We don't need too much. Adding a little bit of oregano to my sauce to give it a little more flavor.
On top of it, we're using like Classico or store-bought tomato sauce. If you want to make a good tomato sauce, make it from scratch. Or take a base like this and then add some fresh herbs to it. But if you're just going to be adding some dried oregano or anything to this, you're making like a cheap pizza sauce. It's not pasta. Not a good pasta sauce.
Look how good it looks. I was going with fettuccine, but I think we got more like linguine at this point.
Okay.
But the freedom is yours. Yep, it looks good to go. So let's give it a try.
And you can see the pasta water looks so milky on top of that. That's not normal. That's disgusting.
All right, it is done. Look how good it looks. I'm just gonna top it off with a little bit of shredded mozzarella cheese. Just like that. It smells so delicious.
It smells great.
And let's give it a try. I'm just gonna cut some from the back right here. All right, let's give it a taste. It's like the perfect consistency. It's soft. It tastes like exactly like fresh pasta.
There's no way that this is like fresh pasta. Fresh pasta is delicious. And this, taking dried pasta, grinding it up, and then making more pasta out of it, it's not the same thing.
Let's make a delicious Wagyu burger.
Okay. Ooh, Gordon's going in with some pretty thick onions. Ah, he's putting some onion pairings on there. Okay. Ah, he's caramelizing the onions, but he's burning them a little bit as well. Ooh, that is a thick burger patty. If you want it more like well done, I suggest making it a lot thinner than that. That is like a little thick, unless you like it medium. Ah, he's basting. Okay. What's he gonna do with the cucumbers? Ah, is he pickling them? I think he's pickling them. If you're on a diet, this recipe isn't for you. Ooh. I think he's using Comté. You don't need the torch. You can just put the lid on and it'll melt, because unless of course you want the color, because you're getting the color right now. An egg too. Nice. Nice. This is gonna be a hefty burger. Oh. The burger looks delicious, but unless you like the eggs running down your cheek, maybe you want to fully cook the egg.
Too much leftover milk? Deep fry your milk.
Too much leftover milk? Maybe my dad's back.
Sugar
30 grams of sugar
and cornstarch.
and cornstarch.
Keep mixing.
Keep mixing.
I've never had this as a problem growing up. Like, never. Actually, I've had the opposite problem. You know, when you go to the store, you buy a couple gallons of milk, and within less than a week, it's gone.
You want to get the consistency like this.
We want the consistency like this. It kind of looks like that thing inside of Joshua Wiseman's buns. You know, the paste that he uses for texture.
Yeah, it does look like that consistency. When adding cornstarch, it's best if you take a little bowl of cornstarch. You can add, say, since we're going to be using milk, a little bit in, mix it, and then add that into the rest of it, just to make sure you don't have lumps.
Pour the milk in your mold.
Pour the mold in my milk.
Fridge at least for an hour.
Fridge for an hour.
Ooh, this is like a tofu.
What kind of tofu looks like that?
Cornstarch,
Cornstarch,
egg, panko.
panko.
What she's doing right now is paneing the milk. I would also recommend when doing the panko, if you notice that the panko breadcrumbs are too big, panko is wonderful to use. You can blend them up a little bit to make them a little finer, and that way you have a better texture when you go to fry. It's important too, especially if you're going to be frying anything that's super liquidy, like when making croquetas or a bechamel. You don't want them to be leaking out when you're frying them, because then the fryer goes crazy, starts spitting.
Deep fry for a couple minutes.
We'll deep fry at 350 for 5 minutes, and they turn into mozzarella sticks.
Hello, hello. This one is for you.
Hello, thanks. This one's also for me then. Got really creamy on the inside. Tastes even better with maple syrup. 9 out of 10. Alright, thank you.
Normally when you go to a tapas restaurant like here in Spain, it depends on where you are, but normally they will actually deep fry brie or camembert. Sometimes you see mozzarella sticks, sometimes you'll see camembert or brie. And they're tasty, but normally what they have accompanied with them is either jam of some sort or chili jam. Here though, the chili jam is super sweet. It's called like marmelada de pimientos, and it's not the same chili jam that Jamie uses, I think. I don't know on how sweet his is because I never tasted it, but they do actually serve it with chili jam, and it's fine. It tastes fine.
The more avocados you're using, the more this trick becomes something that you love.
Huh. It actually looks like Rachel Ray came up with something that works this time. It's not a recipe, but it's a method. It's good. This is very good.
Now, this is the reason we have this wire rack here. It dices the avocados as you pull them out of their skins and drop them into the bowl.
This does work because I have seen it used before in the kitchens when making a lot of product, but at home, it's not necessary.
Hey, actual life hack, if you got some leftover burgers, first step is pull the bun off.
Leftover burgers? Who keeps leftover takeout food in the fridge? I mean, I can see that, you know, if you didn't eat everything, but if you have like just a couple burgers that you didn't eat and you just kept them in the fridge, why?
Go ahead and separate your veggies. Now just take your patty, give it a quick rinse.
No. Why would you wash the patty off if you're just going to be reheating it? Pop it in the microwave, it's done.
You're going right in the toaster. Yeah, baby. There we go.
Oh, that's why he rinsed it off. He didn't want to get any sauce in the toaster. But what about the cheese? Because if you leave it in there long enough, the cheese will melt and then it'll gunk up your toaster. So I don't see the logic here.
Ooh. Veggies back on. Burger. And there we go.
You could have reheated this with the microwave. That's what a microwave's for, to reheat the food. And the toaster's to make toast. That's it.
Delicious. Oh shit, the fries. There you go.
Reheating the fries in the toaster, not the best thing. The fries in the toaster, they're just gonna fall down to the bottom tray. And you know, in the bottom tray, you have all the little breadcrumbs and everything from all the toast that you've been making. It's just, why? It's not nice. It's just not nice.
Easiest, delicious stick of butter rice.
Stick of butter rice, and she's gonna be making risotto. Oh, this will be interesting.
Preheat your oven to 350. Pour a 16-ounce bag of rice into a baking dish. Get your can opener ready. Okay, pour a can of French onion Campbell soup into the rice.
French onion Campbell soup to make risotto.
Pour a can of Campbell's beef consomme into the rice.
Now we're going to be using Campbell's beef consomme to make risotto. She likes Campbell's, doesn't she?
Pour 2 little cans of mushrooms, 4 ounces each, into the mixture. Heat up and melt an entire stick of butter. Give it a little stir.
And a whole stick of butter as well. This is a different way. I've never seen a risotto made like this before. I have to admit, never.
Okay, now we're going to pour the butter all in. Quick stir. Get some Reynolds wrap. Wrap your dish really tight. Bake for 30 minutes. Take it out. Sprinkle pecorino romano cheese all over it and put it back in for another 30 minutes covered.
Wait a minute, let me get this straight. She's making risotto in the oven. She's already cooked it for 30 minutes and she's gonna put it in for another 30 minutes. So an hour to make risotto. It doesn't take an hour to make risotto. Well, maybe if you're trying to make it like this, but it doesn't take an hour. It takes like 20 or so minutes. That's it.
Fluff it up. I promise you, best side dish ever.
Risotto as a side dish. I don't think of risotto as a side dish. Well, I mean, you could actually make it as a side dish if you wanted to, but this risotto is not creamy. The whole point of making risotto, the way to make risotto makes it creamy. Well, then again, you need the correct type of rice because the rice is super starchy, and the more that you stir the rice, the more that you release that starch, and that starch helps thicken and become that delicious creamy sauce, which makes a risotto creamy. You know, it's actually hard to say which one out of all of these was like the worst. I think the one that turned out maybe somewhat of a better one was actually Rachel Ray's little trick on cutting up avocados.
Wings without deep frying them, so here's how to make these honey sesame sriracha chicken wings in the oven.
Baked chicken never goes well on this channel, but this looks super legit, so let's give it a try.
He's using chicken legs again. Something tells me that a lot of chickens are missing legs.
Add white vinegar, smoked paprika, a couple other spices,
Add smoked paprika and some salt.
some baking powder, cornstarch, and beef tallow to get these extra crispy.
A key bump of baking powder, cornstarch, and my bucket of duck fat.
Actually, duck fat would taste really good, huh? Duck fat goes very well. What I would recommend before doing all this with the chicken is to leave them uncovered the night before in the fridge. You get that skin super, super, super dry, and then pat them dry just before you mix. This is important. You don't want wet wings.
Lay these on a wire rack. Bake these for about 30 minutes on each side or until they're nicely golden.
Lay them on a wire rack. We'll just bake them for an hour without flipping because they're on a wire rack.
For the sauce, melt down some butter, go on with sriracha, honey, smoked paprika, garlic salt, sesame seeds, sesame oil, and a squeeze of lime juice.
For the sauce, I'm just gonna do a hella tapatio and some maple syrup. We'll dunk it in, give it a taste, and rate it 1 through 10.
I honestly think they're gonna taste good. I mean, she has a lot of spices, a lot of seasoning with the chicken. So in reality, you don't need like a super, super like flavorful sauce to go with them, but it'll help. You could even use a little bit of barbecue sauce to go with this and you'll be fine.
Not as crispy as it looked, maybe because I didn't put enough starch in it, but it's just as good as an average fried chicken without all the oil and stuff. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Alright, thank you.
If you want to get a super, super crispy like chicken wing, frying it is a good option. It's the old way of doing it and it works really well. Today though, with air fryers, I mean, if you have one, use it. It cuts down on your calories. It's just that a lot of controversy with air fryers and are they safe for plastics and everything else. Me personally, I don't have one. Doesn't mean I wouldn't get one, but I would prefer to have an air fryer that's like metal.
You will never look at a cucumber the same after watching this video.
What she taught us in the video is that we can remove the bitterness in it by cutting an end off and just start rubbing it. And this white stuff will come out. It takes a little while, so I'm gonna rub it on the couch.
It makes you wonder what else she's been doing with that cucumber.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Apparently it's called cucurbitacin, a bitter tasting compound that's naturally in cucumbers. You can go a step beyond by rubbing salt on it beforehand to remove the stipples, which also takes out bitterness and increase the freshness. Maybe it's placebo, but it does have a hint of sweetness now. I'll give this technique a 9 out of 10.
Normally when you cut a cucumber, it does start to bleed a little bit, which is perfectly normal. Even when you cut zucchini, it does bleed. I honestly think that some people have too much time on their hands.
Perfect breakfast sandwich. Cast iron pan, breakfast sausages. In they go. Start layering the bacon. Pepper. No salt. It's already salty. Touch of butter.
He's right about this. You don't want to be over seasoning the bacon as well as the sausage. Then again, it depends on what type of sausage you're using.
Look at that. The breakfast of champions. Turn the bacon over. In with the tomatoes. Once you got the colour on the sausages, the tomatoes start to break down.
Yeah, this is going to be a hearty breakfast. If you have a long day's work ahead of you, then this is a good breakfast for you. If you're going to be sitting in an office, not so much.
Whole skillet goes into the oven. About 4 minutes. And now I'm going to fry eggs like never before. Touch of oil. Butter into the pan. Get your eggs into the pan. Pepper, salt, a little touch of chili flakes. This is where it goes up another level. A touch of sriracha. Worcestershire sauce.
It's going to be making some fried eggs with this as well. This is a hearty breakfast.
To die for. From there, two beautiful slices.
Chili
You don't need
flakes.
to butter this bread, I promise you. Just steal some of that flavour from these eggs.
Since it's a fresh loaf of bread, Gordon's not toasting it, although it is nice if you toast it because then it won't be too soggy when you make the sandwich.
Oh, beautiful. Now, drain the sausages. Just crush those tomatoes so all the water comes out. Aid balsamic vinegar and just let it sit there. Now we start to build this beauty.
This helps so when you go to bite the sandwich, the tomatoes just don't shoot out at you and they're not running down your face. You want to be careful with the eggs too.
From there, my beautiful tomatoes. And then finally, my eggs. Crispy underneath, runny in the middle. Oh, man. Close her up. You ready for the slice of your life? Oh, my Lord. Get your ganaches around that.
Me personally, I think I'd add a little bit of cheese on this, but that's just me. I love cheese. And you see some of these cooking videos where like they go out to the woods and they make something, and sometimes they actually do make some really nice things. We're going to be cutting a watermelon. Ah, no. He's not doing what I think he's doing. He's putting barbecue sauce on the watermelon. Everyone's so creative. Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah, he's topped it. You can see his dog in the background probably thinking to himself, what's he doing today? Honestly. You know, you have to admit that pizza seems to be one of the most, if not the most, bastardized types of food.
I didn't even think I liked uncooked ramen till I had it with the peanut butter and jelly.
No.
I don't even need the seasoning with it.
No.
Uncooked. Peanut butter and jelly's all you need.
He's seriously putting PB&J on uncooked instant ramen noodles. Oh. This actually seems something more down Jamie's aisle, to tell you the truth. Well, he'd cook the noodles. He wouldn't leave them raw, but, I'm
putting you on right now.
You can eat dried ramen noodles if you're like starving, but there is a reason why you need to rehydrate them, unless you like them crunchy. But putting PB&J on them, oh my goodness. I mean, I like peanut butter and jelly, but just thinking of the texture and then the actual noodles themselves, no.
Okay, so I'm being suckered into the new TikTok challenge where we have Oreos and pickles.
Right. Oreo cookies and pickles. I've never tried that combination before, and I honestly don't think I want to try that combination. I've had Oreo cookies, and I love good pickles, but not bad pickles. But put them together, no.
So we're supposed to take the Oreo and dip it into the pickle juice. So, Oreo, see, Oreo.
And she's doing this at work too.
Juice. See, I've got it in there. And it's even dripping. Okay, here we go. And if I don't like it, y'all are gonna know immediately, okay? Here we go.
Before she takes the bite, let us know down in the comments if you think it's going to be good or bad.
Don't do it. No bueno. Don't believe TikTok.
So this is what happens when people don't have anything to do at work. It's sweet and salty, but with the flavoring with the Oreo cookies and that, I wouldn't think that it tastes good. I think the real moral of the story is that if you're at work, don't get suckered into doing something, meaning forced into doing something. If you don't want to do it, unless of course if your boss says that you have to do it and it's part of your job, then you have to do it.
Oh dear me, and I'm going to put the beans in, the baked beans in. I've been told it has to be baked beans, so who am I to argue? I know I told me the first.
It's Kate's cooking. We haven't seen her for a while. And today it looks like she's going to be making some pasta with beans and a little bit of cheese.
So nice and done. That's one tin out. Told you I needed 2 tins. And get out of the tin. That's it. Oh, here we go. Nearly getting all covered up. So it'll not be cold.
I wonder if we're going to be seeing any cooking with Jack today.
I'm going to put some cheese. And I know you're all going to say, oh, she's a cheese addict. Yes, I know I am. And I'm so sorry, but I love my cheese. So I'm going to put cheese on my part.
I can see where some TikTokers get the idea on making some of their little creations.
That is the end product. And now for the taste test. Why did I get a spoon? I will say, with that cheese on the pasta, it tastes really, really nice.
She baked it in the oven, so she's doing like a little casserole. This reminds me a lot of Cooking with Jack. And guys, if you haven't seen the enchilada video with Cooking with Jack, I just warn you beforehand, yeah? Don't eat before watching that video. Well, this one's not the worst that she's made, yeah? We've seen actually some pretty bad ones. But is she doing it on purpose because she doesn't know? Or is she doing it on purpose because she's trolling?
We have a banana pizza, pepperoni, cream cheese, banana, and black pepper. There's a banana right on the end. See, I want the pepperoni with it, though.
Banana on a pizza. And just to let you guys know, this is something, and I haven't been to a pizzeria in Sweden, but this is something that supposedly is popular in Sweden. So this is not just like a random creation. Well, it was probably at one point, but I guess people enjoy it and now they do it. But banana on a pizza?
Oh my gosh, I'm excited to know how you feel. Look at that cheese. Oh.
I think I like it.
I hope we just ordered a whole pie.
It's good.
Do you want more?
Yeah, I want more. It was really good.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's sweet. It tastes like a pepperoni pizza with nice sliced sweet banana. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Poor pizza. Well, she must like it because she's like literally licking every single finger. Now, if there are any Italians watching this, before you make the little comments, please don't use bad language. Google understands bad language in every single language.
We decided to go ahead and try the gummy bear sausage. We use a combination of both sweet and spicy elements to this to really try to make it work out, hitting a few savory notes as we went.
They're seriously making gummy bear sausages? And this is professional equipment as well.
We're concerned that the gummy bears would get stuck in the horn, but thankfully not. This is the closest you'll ever see a guy like me get to jumping rope these days. Now we're gonna sear these bad boys in a combination of rendered beef tallow and positive attitude. They did burn a little bit with that excess sugar of the gummy bears melting out. All in all, surprisingly, not a bad sausage.
I have so many questions. Firstly, having or wearing like nail polish is not allowed in many places because it can flake off and that can get into the food, unless of course you wear gloves, which helps. But putting gummy bears in perfectly good sausage meat, well, I think it's good sausage, but adding gummy bears to this, why? Just why? You might as well just put some Tootsie Rolls in the sausage next time.
Fruit Loops and ground beef. Y'all know about that? Y'all need to try that.
Huh?
Pour my cereal first.
Fruit Loops and ground beef, and then on top of it, she is speaking English. It's just another form of English.
You don't need no milk. You don't need no milk. Look at that. Yeah. That right there.
Huh?
Yeah, try that.
I get this all the time from people that don't speak English on how difficult it is for them to like learn English, because literally if you go just in England alone, let alone Ireland, Scotland, Wales as well, and in the US, the accents can vary greatly and the pronunciation. I mean, some may say mountain and others may say mountain.
It's tomorrow.
No, it's tomorrow.
Butter.
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 Listen. Butter.
Butter.
That's it. Say again.
Butter.
Very good. Thank you very much indeed. Standard English on the streets of Teesside. Together, we can do this.
Fruit Loops and ground beef. That is something that has never occurred to me to mix. I mean, is the ground beef actually seasoned? Is it just cooked ground beef? Is it boiled ground beef? Do you add some herbs to it?
some salt. I mean, the Fruit Loops had sugar and just weird combinations.
Hi, I'm Esther. I'm a professional chef, or...
Oh, that very good pounding.
Remember this beautiful case? This is basically our MSG. Start with
what? MSG? This is the most beautiful woman on the earth. She said the word MSG. No more Nigella. I think Niece Esther, my favorite chef now. Time to replace all the photo in my bedroom.
Something tells me that that's true.
Most importantly, hondashi, which is a type of MSG. That's gonna be...
She said MSG for second time in this video.
And it seems like Uncle Roger is head over heels for Esther.
She know how to say MSG without using the word MSG. I think I in love all over again. I feel like teenager now. Auntie Esther, so good at pounding.
Oh, I now know why that he fell in love with Esther. She does a very good job.
Truly a genius. I found a trick that changed how I cook chicken.
I would have never thought of peeling chicken, so let's see how genius this man is.
Take one frozen chicken breast and grate it using a peeler.
Here goes my Saturday afternoon. Not only does the frozen block of meat hurt my hand, it also takes forever to peel. This man is not a genius, bro. He's just unemployed. But I sharpened it like a spear, so I can stab and kill him, and then eat the chicken. This is the perfect crime.
I admit, I've never seen the chicken used as a shank before. Freezing your chicken breast and then shaving it super thin isn't something that you typically see, but it is something that if you want to make like carpaccio or anything with the meat, it is a good idea. But what you want to do is to chill the meat or freeze it to a point where it's not rock hard, but just a little soft. Then you can put it on the deli slicer and slice super thin paper slices. That's the easy way on plating it, because if not, what will happen with a lot of meats, with either pancetta or anything else, is you won't get a nice, crisp, clean cut.
Then grate 2 potatoes and 1 onion the same way and put everything into a bowl.
Now that we're done with whatever that was, let's start peeling this potato. And this feels right. I mean, this peels right. I'll just chop the onion. I don't feel like bawling my eyes out right now.
Alright, so I guess that everything with this recipe is used with a potato peeler, which is fine. That's okay. Just if you're going to be doing that, be careful and make sure that it's sharp, because otherwise you're going to be there for a while.
200 grams of mozzarella cheese.
200 grams of mozzarella cheese.
Add 1 egg.
Add 1 egg.
Oregano, salt, and black pepper.
Oregano, salt, black pepper.
Is he going to be making like a meat hash brown or something?
Mix everything really well.
I think I've seen people on Instagram make food for their dogs the exact same way.
Heat a bit of oil and 1 tablespoon of butter.
A bit of oil and 1 tablespoon of butter. The oil seems kind of redundant.
You don't need to add both, but the oil does prevent the butter from browning too quickly. So it's not about reaching a smoke point, but it helps to keep it like a little lower.
Pour the mixture into the pan and spread it evenly with a spoon.
Pour the mixture into the pan and spread it evenly with a spoon.
Cover and cook for 15 minutes.
Cover and cook for 15 minutes.
Then flip it using a plate, return it to the pan, and cook for another 10 minutes.
I ain't using no plate. I'm gonna flip it by using the flick of the wrist.
You fucked up.
To be honest, the robot voice kind of looks like he made a Spanish tortilla, and it looks pretty good.
Sprinkle parsley on top for extra flavor.
Yeah, because that parsley is gonna save this. Honestly, this doesn't look that bad. Let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10. It tastes like a hash brown that's also a chicken pot pie. The peeled chicken got so thin, just dispersed into the mixture. So it's kind of like a high protein potato pancake. I guess this man is a genius. 8.5 out of 10. You should give it a try.
It's not very conventional on how to like peel the chicken or anything, but if you wanted to add chicken to like a tortilla and you're making like a tortilla or anything, it looks pretty good. It really does.
A baked bean pizza from 1954. Now I'm scared of lots of things, including the IRS, clowns, and English majors.
What he normally does is he picks recipes from years ago, and some of them are good, but baked beans on pizza? When you want to make something like a weird combination, just make a pizza out of it, no? That's easy, just make a pizza.
But I'm most afraid of beans where they don't belong. Oh dear. The sauce begins with a can of tomato paste, plus 8 ounces of spaghetti sauce. Really starting out on the wrong foot, more like the wrong limb. Add oregano for an authentic taste. I feel like I'm in Italy. For the crust, we squashed together refrigerator biscuits. Sorry, what were you saying about authentic?
This seems like one of those, you don't have many things in the house, what should we make? We'll make a pizza. Inventions.
On goes the sauce. A bit of Parmesan. Now 20 ounces of baked beans. What part of Italy are you from? Kentucky? In the center, some fresh mozzarella. How to get an entire country to hate you. Step 1. This. $4.25 for 10, then $3.25 for 20. No.
I've never seen baked beans on pizza before. Never.
We can serve this with anchovies or sardines. How about a swift death? Oh, what? What is wrong with you? You are sick! It's just vile.
Baked beans on a pizza, cheese, and then anchovies or sardines. I mean, seriously, would any of you watching this try that pizza? A lot of those things to me is just the combination. No. Individually, yeah. Combination, no.
Whoa. My signature dish is gonna help me stand out because I'm a true culinarian. I understand what Gordon's looking for.
What is it?
This should be good. Ramsey's going to be judging.
I call it exotic tartare because it's with venison and diver scallops, with caviar and white chocolate.
What?
And...
Oh, stop. Let me just get this right again. Either that or I'm just about to be punked.
As tartare too, so it's raw. That's weird, that combination. Venison is deer meat, and if you're going to be eating venison, you should get the venison from a very good source, especially if you're going to try it for tartare, because you can get sick, worms and other things, if you do not source it from a good source. Now, diver scallops, as the name implies, are actually dived for to be picked. So instead of like dredging for scallops or even farmed scallops, divers will actually dive for these scallops and pick them by hand. So they cost a lot more money.
Raw venison, raw quail egg, lime zest, olive oil, scallops, caviar, and grated white chocolate. That must be one of the worst combinations I've ever tasted in 21 years of cooking. Piss off, will you?
I really don't understand what Chef Ramsay didn't like about the dish. I'm a little boggled on that.
It's pretty hard to say which one of these out of all of them that we've seen was the worst combination. I mean, seriously, you guys can let me know down below which ones you think were the worst in order, but for me, I think the weirdest, besides the baked beans on pizza, that's right, because there are some weird ones. I think the Oreo cookies and pickles, it's just bizarre. It's just weird, very different. Sometimes a very bizarre combination will work, like, let's say, ice cream with maybe saffron. It actually can work.
I'm a dietitian, and this is what I ate for breakfast.
I'm a dietitian's biggest enemy, and I'm gonna try out this breakfast.
First, add rice paper to a hot pan.
You can use the rice paper for a lot of things. I mean, if you want to cut down on calories, not a bad idea, but dry to a non-stick pan.
Then chili oil.
First, add a rice paper to a hot pan and then some chili oil.
An egg.
An egg, spread it out with a fork.
Scallions, and top it off with Kewpie mayo and sriracha.
Scallion, I give a second chance to Kewpie mayo and some Frank's Red Hot.
Fold it in half, and that's it.
Fold it in half, and that's it. I'm nailing this recipe so far.
I make at least 2 of these, and it only takes 5 minutes.
It took me about 7 minutes. It really is a quick and easy breakfast idea.
It's basically like making a rice paper breakfast quesadilla. It looks easy, and it probably is tasty.
Let's give it a sound check. It kind of looks like a really small pizza or a really thick Dorito. Let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10. It's not as crispy as I had hoped, but all the flavors work together really well. It's a really light breakfast that feels kind of hearty. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Not a bad recipe, and if you're trying to cut down on calories so you don't want to be eating like a lot of tortilla wraps, it may be a good option.
Did you know that if you put eggs in a can of tuna,
What happens if I put eggs in a can of tuna?
then transfer it to a container and add another egg?
Then transfer it to a... Bro, why did we put it in the first place?
Why put the egg in the can in the first place? It doesn't make sense. When you open the can, normally you open it so you drain out the rest of either the water or the oil that's in the can. Here, if you spend a little more money, you can actually get tuna that's been canned with olive oil.
We integrate the eggs well with the tuna.
We integrate the eggs and tuna with the Ligma fork.
teaspoon of salt,
Teaspoon of salt.
a little ground pepper,
A lot of black pepper.
a little garlic powder,
A little garlic powder.
1 little dried oregano.
A little garlic powder.
Place a little oil and also half an onion cut into slices.
In a pan, we'll spray oil and start sauteing onions. This reminds me I haven't had onion rings in a really long time.
Why is the robot voice using onion rings? If you're going to be doing this, either dice, chop, mince, or julienne the onions. You don't need to be using rings.
Once at this point, we add the egg with the tuna. Spread it throughout the pan.
We put the mixture in the pan, spread it out. Why is mine so dry?
Then at this point, we add mozzarella cheese. Cover until it melts and that's it.
Then we'll add hand-shredded mozzarella cheese. Cover and melt. That's it.
With this, you have a delicious dinner that is easy to make and healthy.
Definitely pretty easy to make. I'm gonna call this a tuna pizza. If you're Italian, you can come at me in the comments.
It seems like anything, it doesn't even have to be a flatbread today, can be a pizza. If anyone does want to see a pizza video, I did make one not that long ago. It's not traditional, but it is a quick thing that you can make at home, a quick, easy little pizza, and you can make it in less than half an hour.
I had very low hopes going into it, but it's actually a pretty good omelet. Fairly healthy too. I'll probably start eating it for breakfast. 8 out of 10. Alright, thank you.
After he dumps like half a cup of hot sauce on it, yeah.
Did you know that if you add 3 eggs to 3 bananas,
Didn't know that if I add 3 eggs to 3 bananas,
then we mash it with a fork and put it in a blender?
then we mash it with a fork.
What are we gonna be making? Like banana bread or something? It's a robot voice. Don't like robot voices.
Put it in a so we didn't need to mash it with a fork, bruh.
We also add a cup of milk and half a cup of sugar and blend for 2 minutes.
Then we'll add a cup of my roommate's milk because my dad's still not back, and half a cup of sugar, and immersion blend it till smooth.
In a pan, we will place half a cup of sugar. Once at this point, we add half a cup of hot water to form a caramel.
It kind of looks like they're gonna be making a dessert here, like a banana flan or something maybe.
In a pan, we'll put half a cup of sugar and half a cup of water. Just let it caramelize on its own.
Cover it with the help of aluminum foil and put it in a bain-marie for 1 hour.
We'll put the pot into hot water to make it a bain-marie. This must be what happens inside my older sister's mind when I remind her of her age. But we'll pour the mixture in, cover, and bake for an hour.
We unmold and look at what wonderful flan we have created made of bananas and eggs.
Yeah, they made a banana flan. Flans are super easy to make, but I don't eat a lot of desserts, so I don't make a lot of pastries at home. I don't eat a lot of sugar.
We unmold by flipping it over, and look what wonderful well, looks could be deceiving, so let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10.
If you don't nail the caramel sauce, this is exactly what will happen.
Remember with the moldy bread, we did such a great job? I don't know what happened here. If the lesson from the last time is always believe in yourself, the lesson this time is that life always finds a way to kick you in the crotch. Flavor's not bad though. 5 out of 10. Alright, thank you.
Kinda looks like a flan soup.
No, God!
Let's make a water pie. It's a depressingly great recipe from the Great Depression era.
It does sound like one of those depression recipes. I mean, people had to make basically whatever they could out of nothing. It was a time that a lot of people didn't have much.
To 2 cups of water, we'll sprinkle in 4 tablespoons of flour, a cup of sugar, and a splash of dessert MSG. Lay on top 5 tablespoons of butter and bake at 375 for 30. Cover, and then for another 40.
For being one of those depression recipes, a lot of these ingredients I'm sure would have cost quite a bit of money, including butter. Maybe unless you had your own like cows or anything and you turned your own butter. I'm sure even flour back then used to cost an arm and a leg.
Maybe grease the foil beforehand. After some surgery to make it presentable, we'll cool it overnight. This is the final product. It doesn't look appetizing at all, but I'm surprised that it actually set.
Yeah, it doesn't look very appetizing, does it? Oh, it looks nasty. Ugh.
To improve the appearance, I'm gonna do a layer of sugar and brulee it. Much better than before.
A little bit better, but still you could have gone a little heavier on the sugar and the brulee. You should have burned it just a little more. When making a creme brulee, you want it to the point where you can take a spoon and smack it. Yeah? And if you hear a crack, it's good. Especially if the custard inside the creme brulee is super creamy.
Cut into it. I feel like it kind of looks like a pumpkin pie without the pumpkin, but anything that resembles creme brulee I can get behind. Let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10. The texture is really good, but it does need more flavor other than vanilla. Considering it's a struggle meal and I'm addicted to sugar, I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
It looks a little strange, to be honest, this recipe, and I don't think all the ingredients back then would have been super cheap. So things like flour, butter, even eggs as well, I'm sure was a little difficult to get. And he also used a pre-bake pie. I can only imagine the amount of pre-made food, doughs, pies, and all the other pastries and everything if people had it back then in the 30s. That would have been super, super popular because back then you had to make a lot more from scratch than what you do today.
We tested 50 chocolate chip cookie recipes and this is the best one.
If you introduce yourself as someone who makes the best chocolate chip cookie, you immediately appear to be more trustworthy. Let's learn this recipe together.
Now just keep in mind not only the amount of ingredients that you have to have, but the time it takes to actually make 50 different chocolate chip cookie recipes.
Number one secret to a perfect chocolate chip cookie is to brown your butter. It adds that nutty, rich depth of flavor that you would find in your local bakery.
So when I finally decided to make this recipe, I realized the recipe is in their bio. When I clicked on the bio, I realized the recipe is in a separate link. When I clicked on that link, it took me to a whole separate gallery of recipes that I have to scroll down so far to find the cookie recipe. And when I clicked into the cookie recipe, I have to watch ads and read through the author's entire life story to get to the ingredients. I hate when people do stuff like that. So to make it easy for all of you, I have listed the ingredients on my Instagram, link in bio.
The other thing that's annoying is like normally when you see a lot of these recipes like in blogs, they show like the best blah blah blah. Okay, because this is hyperbole that they use for everything, the best of everything. But then when you go into the link, you have to scroll and scroll and scroll, go past all the ads and all the BS and go down to the bottom to find the recipe just to see the measurements. Why make it so difficult?
First step is to brown a whole block of butter. You have to be careful though because it might explode like this. And once it's so foamy, you can't tell if it's brown or not. It's probably time to take it out.
They're making beurre noisette, which is brown butter. If you want to brown the butter even darker, this is called beurre noir, or black butter, and it will have more of a bitter flavor. So if you want a more bitter cookie, you can brown it.
You lose some of the water during the browning process, so we recommend adding a few tablespoons back in.
I'm gonna put some ice cubes in it because ice in hot oil sounds pretty fun.
For a chewy, soft texture, we recommend using a mixture of bread and all-purpose flour.
So 1 3/4 of a cup of AP flour. Whenever the recipe requires a mixture of flours, I just use all-purpose. It's called all-purpose for a reason. Along with a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of baking soda.
What she was doing though in the original recipe is actually a good thing. You do want to sieve the flour just in case if you have any lumps. But when you measure the flour, instead of doing it by cups, I recommend doing it by weight. It is more accurate. If the recipe is only by cups, that's fine, but you're not going to get a consistency that you can get with weighing it. There's a big difference.
We also like adding in a teaspoon of espresso powder to enhance the chocolate flavor.
So in a separate bowl, we'll go with a cup of brown sugar, half a cup of white sugar. I love espresso powder, so I'm adding a little extra.
And the best cookie dough consistency uses 1 egg yolk mixed with 1 regular egg.
Dessert MSG, 1 egg yolk. Ligma fork it till smooth, add in the butter.
So far, this recipe's looking okay. It doesn't look bad. Let's see how it turns out at the end.
Combining the dry ingredients with the wet mixture.
Combine the dry ingredients and wet ingredients in a satisfying way.
Bigger pieces of chopped chocolate in addition to smaller chips to create the perfect wells of gooey goodness.
And I also know that you like the chocolate snapping sound.
I'm gonna give you what you want.
The consistency that she had in her video looked really good. His looks to be a little on the wetter side.
After we fold the chocolate into the dough, we roll them into perfect looking balls, put most of it away in the freezer, and then bake 4 of them. 350 for 14 minutes. The large size of the chocolate chunks kind of makes it look like a mess made by a baby, but I'm sure biting into it will be more satisfying as well. Let's do what they did in the beginning and split open multiple cookies at once. Yeah, a bite out of these will max out my dopamine level. Let's give it a taste and rate it 1 through 10. I think I nailed this one. Crunchy on the outside, chewy and gooey on the inside. The only issue is that it doesn't look that good, so 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, like the mouse that wanted a cookie, no? And the mouse wanted the cookie, then the mouse needed a glass of milk to go with the cookie. Yeah, it doesn't look like a bad recipe, but until you actually try it, you won't really know. And even that, a lot of recipes are just copies from other recipes that people have done and recopied and recopied. There is a difference between that and an actual pastry chef's recipe for a good chocolate chip cookie.
That looks pretty insane. We have to try it out now.
We're gonna be making some viral lava cake.
Well, first, butter the cup for later use. What's the point of buttering it if we're just gonna eat it straight out of the cup?
It just helps to release it from the cup. I mean, you don't need to use it, but if you're going to be cleaning and doing the dishes later, maybe you want to add a little butter to it.
Senator, I don't know.
First, we'll go with 20 grams of Nutella. They called it hazelnut sauce in the video. It makes it sound so much better in quality. We're only going with 20 grams because we don't want this to be too rich. And then 100 grams of butter and 85 grams of dark chocolate. Heat it over medium heat till nice and silky. Till it looks sort of like this.
I guess this is one of those TikToks where they don't say anything, they just put the measurements up, which is fine, it's perfectly fine. Maybe it's better than listening to that robot voice with bad English.
And then in a bowl, we'll add 2 whole eggs and 2 egg yolks. Then we'll add about 60 grams of sugar and beat it till it's completely dissolved, with a Ligma fork of course. Now we'll pour in the chocolate mixture from earlier and then keep folding it till it's smooth. We don't want to beat too much air into it because we want it to be dense, like my head.
People typically, when they cook lava cakes, they always undercook them. That way the center is super gooey and runny, instead of cooking them fully and then creating like another ganache or something that they then fill the center with, which technically would be a little better and safer because then you're not going to be eating undercooked egg.
Gluten flour is basically cake flour, so 87 grams of that, and then just a key bump of baking soda. And then we'll fold the dry ingredients in till it's smooth like this. Oh man, that was satisfying. I'll give you the same thing.
Listen. This is one of those AMSR videos. I don't watch those videos.
And then at 350 for 20 minutes. I'm gonna put it on the tray because I'm not sure if this mug is oven safe or not. Not trying to deal with explosions.
The thing is though, if you actually look at her finished product, it looked okay. But again, this is one of those recipes where you barely cook it, so the center is super runny. And you need to make sure that the eggs come up to temp, especially if you're in a place where you can get like salmonella from, you know? This is a risk that you don't want to take. Eggs in the US need to come up to at least 160 Fahrenheit. And if you reheat them, it needs to come back up to at least 165. Eggs set a little before that, so if you have a super runny like consistency, they're not up to that temp yet.
I'm gonna skip posting this on Instagram because I've learned enough words that implies feces from you guys. So we'll just taste it and rate it 1 through 10. It kind of just tastes like undercooked warm batter, but because of how much Nutella is in there, it tastes really good. But definitely not as good as just straight up eating Nutella out of the jar. So I'm giving it a 7 out of 10.
The problem with this recipe is that that one was severely undercooked, especially FutureCanoe's. This was actually quite fun, wasn't it? This gave us like 10 or so different recipes of FutureCanoe that he's reviewed, and I actually like his TikToks and his shorts. They're really good. It's either that or watching just one recipe for 10-20 minutes in a video. Let me know, guys, if you like this as well. Maybe we can review more videos from other people as well. If you haven't checked out my recent review video on making Gordon or Jamie Oliver scrambled eggs, and then I also made my own, be sure to check that video out right here after seeing this video. Okay, so what do we have going on here? We're deep frying some turkey today. Now in the US, this is a very common thing to do during Thanksgiving. A lot of people would deep fry their turkeys instead of like making a roast turkey. So normally what you have is you have a gas burner outside that you put a pot on, you fill it with oil, and then you drop the turkey in. Now the turkey has a lot of water in it, fat, and what can happen is that sometimes the turkey will overflow, and there are a lot of house fires. This happens a lot. People will do this on their wood porches, like seriously, and they'll burn the house down. No wonder why, obviously. But this setup, this is ingenious. Since it's so messy, we've decided to put the gas burner inside a cardboard box with some particle board, and voila, you fix the problem. The only issue is that when you mix paper, hot oil, and wood on top of this, it can create a bit of a dangerous combination. I mean, at least they're using a stick to drop the turkey in the pot, but still, this is one of the most dangerous setups. And not only that, but you have a propane tank or the gas tank right next to this. If you're gonna be doing this at home, like seriously, be extremely careful. Not even bothering to remove the sticker from the tray. Okay.
Peeled garlic. Exactly what we want, right? This is my pasta sauce. It's just soup, but you really want it to be nice and liquidy. This is sort of like, have you ever had penne al vodka? No. This is like that, but without vodka.
This doesn't look like it's gonna turn out nice at all. And a lot of these little hack videos, these pasta hack videos or anything, a lot of them are gimmicks. Some of them may work, but a lot of them are gimmicks. It's like putting the spaghetti inside the meatballs, like what we saw last time.
You're just gonna find a little hole on top, rip them open completely, and then you just set them in like this. Now my grandmother...
Just adding the flavor.
Yes. My grandmother taught me that you never wash mushrooms. And the reason she taught me this is because she said mushrooms absorb water. So when you wash them, they attract all the water.
Mushrooms are like a sponge, so they can absorb water and oil. And if you have to rinse them, you need to rinse them under cold water quickly. Now, if you're gonna be actually turning the mushrooms, which takes a little bit of practice, you usually have to make a lot at any one time. This is more of an old way of decorating them. You put them into a pot of lemon water, because otherwise, if you don't put any acid in there, then they'll start to oxidize and they'll turn another color.
Beautiful. I'm gonna take my signature cheese. Everybody loves some cheese. I'm just gonna go in the top. Cheese here. That feels good. Buddy, do you want some cheese? Okay.
Of course he's always right here by cooking.
He sure is. And now we just need to add just a smidgen of water. So what I do is I take a cup, any old cup you want, fill it up. Little sippy do. Oh, you're so thirsty.
What?
And then you pour right in here. You're gonna go outside it.
This is disgusting. So this is obviously a troll video because the dog is drinking from the water that she's using to cook the pasta.
Wow, look at this. Okay, remember I put a pan under it so that it won't spill? Look at this. Okay, something that's gonna be really important is to perfectly slice into one of these mushrooms. Are you ready?
Guys, be sure to hit that like button because I honestly need the courage to finish this video right now. I'm serious.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Show me the inside.
I sure will. Look at this. I like to put them in half because nobody can eat a full mushroom like that. You can't shove the whole thing in your mouth. And if you could, you certainly couldn't swallow it. Wow. Isn't that beautiful? Now look, remember I've got whole garlic chunks in here. And noodles? This looks incredible.
Right, we can stop that video and go to the next one. The thing that annoys me is that we always try to not waste food, or at least I was brought up this way, and in the kitchen we try not to. It happens, we always have wastage, it's normal to have this, but the difference is making something that you intend not to have any waste, or you try not to throw anything away, and the other thing is making something intentionally bad just for the video, and allowing the dog to even drink out of the water that you're going to be cooking with it, so you're not going to be making this for yourself. And the problem is that TikTok, there's a lot of videos like this on TikTok. A lot.
This is how you should prepare your chicken. Take it out of the packet and run it under cold water. Give it a good scrub. Add some soap. Not too much though. Make sure you rub it in all the creases so you get all the gunk out. Once it's all done, rinse it under the tap so all the soap runs off.
I don't think I need to state that you never need to put soap on meat. You don't rinse meat like you wash the dishes. You don't do that. The only time that you may have to rinse meat or fish if you're butchering it yourself or if it's not cleaned properly and it has a lot of blood. But under no circumstance do you add like any dish soap to it.
Start with our eggs, ground beef,
Was she actually putting in the Doritos bag?
medium queso, freshly chopped onions.
So this is a kitchen hack because apparently this is going to be easier than making this the normal way without putting in a Dorito bag and boiling it.
Salt into the water and then a little into the bag. Some milk.
Why are you putting salt into the water? You're not cooking anything. No food is going into the water. It's going into the bag and the bag's in the water. It makes no difference.
Hot and spicy here. It'll go perfectly with the Cool Ranch.
Something tells me that this is going to be another fail.
Cheese slices. What the? And you want to mix it all together. This is the quickest way to make your beef dinner.
This is the quickest way to make your beef dinner. If she honestly thinks that this is the quickest way to cook something, then obviously she hasn't been cooking. Now there is such a thing as sous vide, which is a method of cooking inside a plastic sealed bag, and it's also to cook at temp. Let's say you want to make a perfectly cooked piece of duck that was going to be at 61 centigrade, it's perfectly pink. If you want to hold that temperature at 70 centigrade, you can bring it up to 70 and it will hold it.
This is the technique to make it cook really fast. It's been about 20 minutes and I can feel it. It just feels done. It's so heavy. Ready?
Oh yeah.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
Looks heavy.
I have a feeling it's going to be disgusting.
There we go. Ooh. This looks incredible.
It looks beautiful, doesn't it? It looks like something that the dog threw up.
All right, let's get a bite of this. Wow. Why is that so good?
For some reason, I don't believe her. I don't think it tastes good.
We're gonna start by softening and mashing 5 pounds of butter. We're gonna take some rosemary and we're gonna sprinkle that in there. Next, we're gonna add some parsley.
Oh God, that's a lot of butter, isn't it?
Now that we've done that, I've made a little bit of a hole in the center so that we can pour in some white wine vinegar.
Yeah, it can be a little difficult to add liquids to butter at room temperature because butter is mostly fat.
Now we're gonna get a little bit messy here.
Spoon clearly wasn't working, I guess.
Now that our butter mixture is done, we're gonna start on our chicken. So the first step we're gonna do is add a carrot to the inside. Then we're gonna take some baby potatoes.
You can stuff the chicken with, say, aromatic vegetables like onions, carrots, and celery. Mirepoix, that is aromatic, so it'll add to the flavor of it. Or you can actually use stuffing. If you do use stuffing, you have to be careful that the internal temp comes up to the correct temperature because you can get sick from it. Now, when you have a whole chicken like this and you're gonna be roasting it, or even if you're gonna be making chicken stock and you have the carcass, you want to double check inside to make sure that all the innards, the kidneys, everything have been removed. Sometimes somebody may miss something and you have a couple innards in there and that's fine, but you want to remove them. And if there's excess blood, you need to get rid of it.
Then we're gonna massage our butter mixture onto the chicken.
Just cake it on. Yeah.
Just like that.
So what you can do instead of piling like 5 kilos of butter on the chicken is you can take some garlic cloves, you can push them underneath the skin. If you want to make the skin extra crispy, you can take your chicken, clean it, put it into the fridge the night before uncovered. This will help dry out the skin. Also, if you separate the skin from the meat, this will help crispen the chicken up when you're cooking it. And you can put other ingredients, the garlic or herb butter, underneath the skin as well, instead of on top, because you want that skin to be crispy. You don't want it to be boiled, basically.
Now I'm gonna add this to the fridge and we're gonna let it chill for 30 minutes.
You just threw butter at me.
What a waste of butter.
So I'm gonna start with the rice. Sprinkle that in there. I'm gonna take these potatoes.
So she's gonna have roasted vegetables into the chicken. Okay.
Sprinkle those in.
I love a good food rainbow.
And then I'm gonna take some olive oil.
You don't need olive oil if you have kilos of butter that's going to be above it. You really don't.
That looks massive.
We're just gonna pop that right on the veggies. I forgot the lemon. How am I gonna lift this?
Just be careful. You got this. Slow.
So far the recipe is edible. Again, the dog's not licking the chicken, but what a waste of butter. You don't need this much butter.
Juicy, juicy.
You know, overall, I mean, it doesn't look half as bad as the other ones, but this is in no means... There are easier ways on roasting a chicken than going through this.
Start by placing our partially cooked chicken into our jar of peanut butter.
This seems like a bit of a bizarre recipe.
4 or 5 slices of bread. Now we're going to use the rolling pin to flatten out our slices of bread. And I'm just going to make them into nice strips. I'm going to lay the bread on just like this.
Oh, that looks lovely.
Craft.
Yes, that looks lovely.
On
That's...
here like that. Now it's time to make our coating. We're going to take some of these maple cookies. We're just going to mash these up. We're going to take 2 handfuls of Cinnamon Toast Crunch and go back in with our rolling pin. I'm going to take 2 tablespoons.
You know, if you're going to be breading something, if you want to make your own breadcrumbs, you can use stale bread. You don't have to go through this effort. You can use crackers, you can, if that's the only thing that you have. If you don't have stale bread, take a couple pieces, the end pieces of the bread that you do have, pop them into the oven, dry them out, and then throw them in the blender or the Thermomix if you have one, and blend them into their fine little, you know, granule size, like the size of sand basically, or any consistency that you want. And you have homemade breadcrumbs, it's easy.
This is kind of turning into something.
I told you, why don't you trust me? Perfect. We're gonna pop it into the air fryer. Now that our chicken is all covered up in the crust, we're gonna pop them back in the air fryer for 10 minutes. Perfectly golden brown. We're gonna dip our chicken in our sauce. Mmm. Oh my gosh.
Is that good?
So good.
Oh, that was a weird video, wasn't it? PB&J, peanut butter and jelly, is, for those of you who don't know what that is more popular in the US. It is popular in the US. Peanut butter is popular in America. Over here, until recently, I haven't been able to find peanut butter, but over here now I actually found it. They don't use it as much. And I'm sure in other places people may like it more, but at least where I live, peanut butter and jelly is not a combination that people like, but no, it doesn't look that appetizing to me. In any case, guys, if you want me to review any more TikTok videos, then let me know in the comments down below, because one, they're not pleasant to review, but some of them are good, some of them are alright, but a lot of them, no, they're not good. The only one that turned out kind of good was the buttered chicken. But again, you don't need to use that much butter for everything.
Today, Uncle Roger gonna review some viral food TikTok in my orange tank top. This year, not hot girl summer, gonna be hot uncle summer. Make sure you watch till end of video, because niece and nephew gonna see something super tragic.
Let's use the wok to make pizza. We do have an oven, but I don't know how to use it. This is what the oven used for.
That is correct. In Asian household, oven used for pot and pan. Same go for dishwasher. We don't use dishwasher. It's just storage. Our children, they the dishwasher.
So I have seen, well, family members and all that, put things or store things in their oven, and it's a pain when you have to take everything out just to use the oven. It really is. But you know, when you don't have space, sometimes you have to, well, find places to put things, but you have to be careful not to forget and turn the oven on. It's very important not to forget.
Put some oil, put the bread in first, put the egg, and then put the...
Is this pizza?
And then put cheese on the top.
Oh, he fucked up.
I think I'm already starting to regret doing the TikTok reviews.
Let the wok do the work.
Wok is so multi-purpose. Can make egg fried rice, can make pizza, can use to hit kid.
It done, let me... Ooh, perfect. Cut a slice. Oh. Whoa, look at the cheese.
Okay. Okay, it kinda look like pizza. But little nephew, just go to Pizza Hut. No need to make your own ghetto pizza. I think he spent all his money dyeing his hair blue and can't even afford Domino's anymore.
Out of all the review videos we've done, we haven't done any pizza reviews, have we? Guys, let me know what pizza review you think I should do. And I have a friend from Napoli who loves pizza, obviously, and it would be fun to get him to do this with me. When we went to Napoli, I had some of the best pizza in my life, and I would love to go back just for the pizza. That's how good it was.
Hello TikTok.
Okay, what this engineer do?
I love Chinese food.
Oh, automated fried rice machine.
Previous video.
No, I think too rigorous. Too rigorous. Stop, wasting. Oh no.
Wait to...
Oh, you're wasting food. If you want to build robot, make sure it don't have Parkinson. Hiya.
I don't think you need a engineering degree to be able to build something like that. I mean, serious. Wow, it's TikTok.
Niece and nephew, remember to comment below which one your favorite TikTok. This one spicy enoki mushroom.
You make some fire enoki. Ooh! Alright, first we're gonna grab a bag of enoki. We're gonna cut an inch from the bottom.
So nice that you can cut off 1 inch from enoki and still usable. Uncle Roger can't afford to lose 1 inch from anywhere. Sorry, children.
Rinse your mushrooms, splash of oil, tablespoon of garlic, throw in your enoki mushroom.
All step correct so far.
Use Vietnamese red pepper.
Good chopping.
Throw that on in.
If you're gonna wash your mushrooms, and this goes for any mushrooms in general, yeah, you need to dry them off. You have to rinse them quick because they're like a sponge and they'll soak up a lot of water.
Tablespoon of pepper paste. Now mix that sauce up.
No. He using metal on non-stick pan. Hiya. Uncle Roger said this so many times now from first BBC food video. You cannot use metal on non-stick pan. Metal you can use on wok because wok not non-stick, but don't use metal on non-stick. Oh.
Even if it's a very good non-stick pan like Jamie Oliver, what he uses, you still don't use it because you can shorten the life of it. If you don't want any problems, either go with another type of pan or treat your pans nicely. Don't use steel wool when cleaning them. Don't put them in the dishwasher. This is another big no-no. And don't use metal on non-stick pans. Things like this.
The food looks so good, but you killing your saucepan. Hiya.
Now mix that sauce up.
You also scraping up the Teflon. You eat Teflon, you get cancer, and then you die. Uncle Roger want to keep you alive, Chef Chris Cho.
My Asian mum-in-law told me that this
he buys sushi, okay,
in Asia, so I bought some from the supermarket.
Guys, let me know down below how popular sushi is. Not that long ago, well, I would say in the 90s here in Spain, at least from my girlfriend's family, they were saying that sushi wasn't very popular. It was somewhat of a new thing. And a lot of people here still don't like the idea of eating raw fish. So just let me know if, one, if you like it, and two, if it is a common thing to see in your country.
Sushi, okay.
In Asia, so I bought some from the supermarket. It tastes okay.
Oh, why would he cook the sushi? I mean, why? I can understand if you don't like raw fish. This is a troll. This has to be a troll. Unless, of course, they don't like eating raw fish. But seriously.
He cooked the sushi. This must be war crime. Is this how World War III starting? Where is cancel culture when you need it? Cancel this guy. Cancel him. Uncle Roger's so upset I put my leg down from chair.
But I don't think it's worth the money.
Who is this Asian mom-in-law? If my children ever marry someone who cooks sushi, I will cook them and then feed them to Auntie Helen. How you like that?
I'm really starting to regret reviewing TikTok videos. I watch TikTok, but not that often, and it's just some of the things on there is just, yeah.
Meal prep is too expensive and takes too long, bruh. Hold my protein.
Daddy Noel. He go to gym, he's so buff. Maybe he should be the one in orange tank top. Hiya, Uncle Roger don't like this outfit. I feel like male stripper. They should make a movie called Magic Roger.
Yeah, I feel like Uncle Roger right now. I mean, it's one thing to wear this during the summer, maybe when it's really hot or you're going to be doing some sports, but otherwise on camera, no.
Egg fried rice. Add your cooking spray to the pan.
No. Cooking spray is most disgusting oil ever. Real food should not come from tube.
Yeah, I agree with Uncle Roger on this. You don't need an aerosol can to lubricate the pan. You really do not. Actually, it rhymes, doesn't it? Aerosol can to lubricate the pan. Anyway, use some oil, use some butter or something else, but you don't need to spray it.
Add 3 eggs, cup of rice, and then mix it together. Vegetables of choice and a little bit of soy sauce, and you're good to go.
I think his egg fried rice needs some aromatic, like garlic or pepper or spring onion, and no vegetable. Vegetable tastes like sap.
Something tells me that that portion is not enough for him. That portion for me would be like, in a few hours I'd be hungry again. It's not enough for me. But for him, I would assume that he would need a little more than that.
Okay, she cooking meat. Why is she poking so awkward?
Grease is disgusting.
No, grease not disgusting. Grease is where all the flavor come from. I see colander. Uncle Roger worst nightmare. No, you're not gonna.
That's how you do it, shit, like.
No, don't wash. Oh my God, she washed beef with colander. No.
Why rinse the beef? I mean, like, really? Why? What's the point? You lose all the flavor, you rinse off all the seasoning if you added it to it, you'll waste the water, you'll clog up your drain, and then you have to reheat the food again. So it's wasting everything. It's wasting electricity or gas, water, and is causing a future problem with the drainage.
Stop! Put the colander down higher. Niece and nephew, don't cook like this because not only the meat no flavor, you also put the grease down the drain and you ruin all the piping. Hiya. And then plumber come over. Why the hell is this pipe clogged? Because I hate flavor.
And like I said in my last video with Adam making the tortilla, what I mean is a good idea to strain any hot oil or anything over the sink instead of on the counter. You have to have something in the sink to collect any oil if it does spill. Another pot, a pan. I don't mean pour the oil down the sink.
Let's make vegan steak.
Vegan steak?
This is a Japanese yam cake called konjac. Okay. It's got a slight fishy taste, so we're gonna start by...
How will vegan people know what fishy taste tastes like?
Not all vegans were born vegan. Some of them converted. So I'm sure that quite a few people know what fish tastes like, or vegans know what fish tastes like. But if you are gonna be eating something, I don't see the need to make it taste like something that you wanted to give up.
For the seasoning, we've got soy sauce, mirin, rice vinegar, molasses.
Not bad. Good seasoning.
Konjac in. Bit of green onion. That texture is just like fatty beef.
Again, how do vegan people know fatty beef texture? This chef can just fool all the vegan people.
Out of all the TikTok videos that we've seen so far, he is the best. Like, literally the best. I agree. I mean, why do you want to imitate that fatty texture? Unless you like fatty texture and you don't want to be eating the fat. But for me, when I eat a steak, I don't want to just go after the fat. I like the cut of meat. I like the protein.
This dish look good, but don't call it steak. Call it konjac with random shit on it. Uncle Roger think if you want to go vegan, don't call it steak anymore. You're supposed to give up steak, not find replacement for steak. That like Uncle Roger saying, I gonna give up Auntie Helen, but as replacement, I gonna have blow up doll version of Auntie Helen. This vegan steak look good. Need to show this to the vegan teacher. Oh wait.
The vegan teacher, I remember that. Ramsey and her had a bit of a rivalry going on in the beginning of TikTok, and I think Ramsey in the end won. He got her banned multiple times, not just once, but a couple times.
I've heard that a 3 Michelin star chef was using sparkling water to tenderize his steaks.
This is Guga. Uncle Roger reviewed him before. He the was guy who put MSG on steak.
It's like there's no way that this works.
MSG seems to love it. He didn't seem to like it with that video, did he? We have to check that video out with Guga doing the dry age with MSG. It'd be interesting to see that.
So I went ahead and tried it. Using $1 steaks.
$1 steak? Which sweatshop you getting this steak from? Fuyo, so cheap.
But then I went ahead and cooked it on the grill.
I would see the use of using some cheap steak because making video after video after video, it can get quite pricey, and I know that from experience.
Does the sparkling water actually work?
It works.
Yes, it does.
Oh my god, this is good life hack. But meat in sparkling water, that must be the most pretentious meat out there.
Maybe not the most pretentious. If he was using maybe a very nice cut of beef, then maybe it would be a little more pretentious, but then you wouldn't need the sparkling water to tenderize it, now would you?
Shrimp fried rice for Uncle Roger.
1 pound peeled deveined shrimp, minced garlic. 1.5
garlic. Good.
Ginger. 5 green onions. Bird's eye chili, fresh or dried. Wok. Medium heat. Prep ahead before cooking.
Correct. Egg fried rice go very fast. So niece and nephew, you should have all your ingredients ready.
Egg fried rice, stir fry, pad thai, all these things do go very quickly, or the cooking goes very quickly. The prep is the majority of the work.
Oil. Chili.
Wait, the oil choices, canola oil, peanut oil, okay. But avocado oil, that's the most white woman oil ever. But I guess it fit her vibe.
To use that for egg fried rice, I think I'd stick with the normal vegetable oil or peanut oil.
Oh, look, not bad. Thank you, Niche Shireen. Your egg fried rice, not bad. Mwah.
I'm not going to comment on the egg fried rice. We'll just go to the next video.
So right there in the center, we're gonna do one more. Hiya!
Is she saying hiya? What the hell?
Gently, and notice that the spaghetti is still uncooked. Special recipe that I like to call Yeti spaghetti.
I've seen a few of these TikTok videos, like these one-pot meal videos, and this is not a one-pot meal, this one, and I don't see the need to make pasta like this. I mean, how hard is it, honestly, to get a pot of boiling water, cook the pasta, and cook the meat separately? What is so difficult?
Getty spaghetti. More like Getty that shit out of Uncle Roger's face. Hiya.
Here comes the fun part. Some
oh my god, she's still going.
Bell peppers.
Nothing you do can save spaghetti now.
I like to go like this. Wait, we got one more special ingredient.
Oh no, what?
Yes.
This is the first time, honest to God, ever seen anything like this in my life. This is absolutely disgusting. It's bad enough not cooking the pasta normally. If the pasta sauce is too acidic, you can add a little bit of sugar to it, but adding candy on top of that to this?
This look like is this candy?
They're gonna release the sugars, and it's gonna be just enough sweet.
So that's what's gonna soften.
Exactly.
I'm still a bit confused by these nerds.
Who put candy in pasta? Getty put candy in spaghetti. Hiya.
It's just these TikTok videos, honestly. Whoa. I don't know if we're going to be reviewing any more TikTok videos.
I guess I know why she say hiya in beginning. Because her food so bad, she have to hiya herself.
Don't have to cover it. Alright, it's been 20 minutes.
Oh, ew. Who want to eat that?
Amazing.
Let's just look at the end product for 1 second. Does that honestly look nice? And I'm not trying to be mean to her. I'm just saying that that is not nice.
That look disgusting. Where she get this recipe from? Jamie Oliver cookbook? Check. Alright. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. Look ridiculous. I look ridiculous.
Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Only one out of all these TikToks did okay. The rest were like, it's not even worth to comment on, but the last one out of all of them was, for me, was one of the most disgusting. But in any case, hopefully you did enjoy it. Check out the rest of my videos as well. Well, be sure to click on this one here. And if you did like the video, then be sure to share, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys again very soon. Until next time, take care.